Good morning, everyone. So, before we proceed with the simulation on fluid sim, we will be discussing the types of sensors, the different types of sensors based on the materials from Fundamentals of Sensing by Rockwell. So, sensors are essentially components in automation and control systems. They help they help machines see, hear, or feel the environment to make decisions. So let's start with ultrasonic proximity sensors. So ultrasonic sensors emit a sound pulse that reflects off of objects entering the wave field. The reflected sound or echo is then received by the sensor. The direction of the sound generates an output signal for use by an actuator, controller, or computer. Then, yung output signal niya daw can be analog or digital. So, yung sensor natin, mag-i-emit siya ng sound pulse, and ma-receive yun ni target entering the wave field, sabi niya dito. So, yung reflected sound or echo is then received by the sensor. Babalik siya, pabalik kay sensor to receive. Then, the output signal can be analog or digital. So, meron tayong four basic components ng ultrasonic proximity sensor. So, first, yung transducer or receiver. So, si transducer, siya yung nagsasend at saka nagre-receive ng sound waves na ipoproduce. And then, comparator, siya naman daw yung magkakalculate ng distance based dun sa sound na travel time niya. Dun sa detector circuit, siya yung nagpa-process ng echo signal. Sa solid state output naman, siya yung nagsasend ng electrical signal sa PLC o kaya sa controller. So, in short, siya yung nagde-detect ng object's presence or measure how far it is. Yun yung four basic components. It's just a brief summary pero iaano pa natin yan sa next slide natin. So, ito yung parang formal na definition ng mga basic components natin. Si transducer or receiver, the ultrasonic transducer pulses, sending sound waves outward from the face of the sensor. The transducer also receives echoes of those waves as reflected of an object. So, siya nga yung nagsasend at saka nag-receive. Comparator. Comparator and detector circuit naman. So, when the sensor receives the reflected echo, the comparator calculates the distance by comparing the emit to receive time phase to the speed of sound. Next one is the solid state output switching device. So, the solid state output generates an electrical signal to be interpreted by an interface device like a programmable logic controller, PLC. The signal from digital sensors indicates the presence or absence of an object in the sensing field. The signal from analog sensors indicates the distance to an object in the sensing field. So, kung ulitin natin, siya yung nagpa-process nung data. Gamit ang like PLC. The next natin is sensing frequency. Hindi na siya part pa rin siya pero hindi siya yung main component. Sensing frequency in general, industrial sensors operate between 25 kHz and 500 kHz. So, sinasabi niya dito, yung medical ultrasound daw unit operates at 5 MHz or more. Sensing frequency is inversely proportional to sensing distance. While a 50 kilohertz sound wave may work to 10 meter or 33 feet or more, a 200 kilohertz sound wave is limited to sensing ranges of about 1 meter or 3 feet. Anong ibig sabihin mo by inversely proportional to sensing distance? So, ang sinasabi mo dito, kapag mas lower daw yung frequency mo, katulad ng 50 kilohertz, mas mahaba daw yung distance na itatravel niya. While naman daw, mas mataas yung frequency mo, yung 200 kHz, mas maiksi naman daw yung itatravel niya, pero mas higher yung precision niya. Inversely proportional, Mas maliit to, mas malaki naman siya yung kakalabasan niya. Mas malaki siya, mas maliit. Remember natin, kapag mas higher frequency, mas shorter ang distance, mas maganda yung output niya, mas precise yung output niya. So, there are target considerations. So, ultrasonic sensors work best when the target surface is smoothed out and flat, and when the sensor is perpendicular to the object. Smaller or irregular shaped targets are harder to detect because they reflect less sound. Also daw, the farther the target, the longer the sensor takes to receive the echo. So, ang optimal natin is itong uh, flat lang siya. And then, okay pa naman daw yung at least 3 degrees yung angle niya. And lastly, incorrect na or hindi na tatama yung hindi na marireceive yung signal kapag nasa 10 degrees na siya. As you can see on the image, palayo yung parang pag-receive back ng signal. So, ang optimal natin is flat or perpendicular and then 3 degrees. Another thing to consider natin sa target for consolidation is yung size niya. So, the smaller the target, the more difficult to detect daw. Kasi mas maliit yung pag-bounce back or yung isi-send back niya na frequency. Target to sensor distance, the further a target is away from the sensor, the longer it takes the sensor to receive the echo. So, makikita nyo dyan, yung distance niya is affected daw siya by the speed of sound, as you can see on the image natin, na perpendicular din ang ating target. Meron tayong mga advantages and disadvantages ng ultrasonic proximity. Ang first natin daw is yung sinasabi natin na ultrasonic proximity sensors are able to sense large targets up to 15 meters away or 49 feet. An ultrasonic proximity sensor's response is not dependent upon the surface color or optical reflectivity of the object. For example daw, the sensing of a clear glass plate, a brown water plate, a white plastic plate, and a shiny aluminum plate is the same. Number 3, ultrasonic sensors with digital on and off daw outputs have excellent repeat sensing accuracy. So it is possible to ignore immediate background objects even at long distance because switching hysteresis is relatively low. Number 4 natin, the response of analog ultrasonic sensor is linear with distance. By interfacing the sensor to an LED display, it is possible to have a visual indication of target distance. This makes ultrasonic sensors ideal for level monitoring or linear motion monitoring applications. So, as you can see, yung number 1 niya daw, 15 meters away. Targets up to 15 meters away daw ang ultrasonic proximity. Number natin, kahit anong color niya or optical reflectivity niya, si ultrasonic proximity daw is hindi daw siya dependent doon. So, yun yung kagandahan ni proximity sensor. Ang number 3 naman daw natin, yung pag-repeat ng sensing accuracy niya. So, kung yun yung sa unang trial or pangalawang trial natin, yun na yung nakuha niya. So, halos yun na lang din ang makukuha niya lagi pag sinent natin. Hindi ka na paulit-ulit na mag-test or mag-setup lagi nun. Kaya yung sinasabi niya dito, yung switching hysteresis niya daw kasi is relatively low lang daw. Yung number 4 naman natin, ang sinasabi niya is linear motion monitoring. So, ideal daw siya. Ano bang ibig sabihin natin by linear? Parang iisa lang yung path niya. So, ganun, yun yung advantages ni ultrasonic proximity. So, pag meron kayong mga projects or yung mga thesis ninyo na linear lang, hindi talaga gumagalaw yung movement ng distance is hindi. So, mas magandang gamitin si ultrasonic proximity. One of the disadvantages naman sa ultrasonic proximity is So, number one, yung ultrasonic sensor daw must view a surface, or especially a hard flat surface, squarely. To receive ample sound echo, also reliable sensing requires a minimum target surface area which is specified for each sensor type. So, yun nga, kung ano yung advantages niya na dapat perpendicular siya. So, hindi mo siya, katulad nung pinakita natin na slide kanina, hindi siya pwedeng i-slant ng 10 degrees. Hindi na siya pwedeng gamitin si ultrasonic proximity. So, number 2 natin, while ultrasonic exhibit good immunity to background noise, these sensors are still likely to falsely respond to some loud noises like the hissing sound produced by air hoses and relief valves. So, dahil frequency nga siya, speed of sound. So, kapag masyadong malakas yung mga katabi niya or yung mga nasa background niya, is hindi rin siya magandang gamitin. The next is proximity style ultrasonic sensors need time for the transducer to stop ringing after transmission. So, magre-result daw siya ng slower response times of about 0.1 seconds. Adequate or beneficial for most level and distance measurements. So, in contrast daw, transmitted beam ultrasonic sensors are much faster with response times around 0.002 to 0.003 seconds. So, the more na mas mabilis kasi yung ating sensor, the more na mas mabilis ay mas marami kang maipoproduce na output. Number 4 natin, ultrasonic proximity sensors have a minimum sensing distance. 5. Changes in the environment such as temperature, pressure, humidity, air turbulence, and airborne particles affect ultrasonic response. So, kailangan yung at least yung environment siguro natin is stable para hindi maapektuhan yung response time ng ating mga sensor. So, kapag ganyan daw yung environment natin na medyo nag-iiba yung temperature, pressure, humidity, air turbulence, mas magandang ibang sensor na yung gamitin or ibang type ng signal. So, the number 6 is the target of low density like foam and cloth. Tend to absorb sound energy. These materials may be very difficult to sense at long range. So, yung target natin like yung mga bottles, kung magsasense tayo ng mga bottles, ganun. At least yun yung mga kailangan gamitin. Kapag naman daw target tayo ng mga foam, like yung mga foam yung mga bed foam, ganun, since mag-absorb sila ng energy, hindi na sila magba-bounce back or hindi na niya ibibigay kay signal natin. So, hindi sila pwedeng gamitin kay ultrasonic proximity. Lastly natin, yung smooth surfaces reflect sound energy more efficiently than rough surfaces. However daw, the sensing angle to a smooth surface is generally more critical than to a rough surface. So, yung 7 natin, kapag gumamit daw tayo ng smooth surface, although mas maganda siya, kailangan hanapin din natin yung tamang angle na ibabalik siya. So, our next sensor naman, which is the photoelectric sensor's transmitted beam. By definition, it provides accurate detection of objects without physical contact. There is a vast number of photoelectric sensors from which to choose. Each offers a unique combination of sensing performance, output characteristics, and mounting options. So, a light source sends light toward the object. A light receiver pointed toward the same object detects the presence or absence of direct or reflected light originating from the source. Detection of the light generates an output signal for use by an actuator, controller, or computer. The output signal can be analog or digital. Some sensors modify the output with timing logic, scaling, or offset adjustment. So, kung yung kanina, yung sensor is gamit niya is sound or frequency, ngayon naman it uses light. So, kapag daw yung light source mo is yung light mo nag-emit siya, and then i-bounce back din ni object para ma-receive ni receiver. So, kapag daw, when the light pattern daw nag-change siya or changes, the sensor sends electrical signal to a. Meron tayong different parts or ay 5 basic components ng photoelectric sensor. Ito is light source, light detector, lenses, logic or circuit, and the output. So, kung makikita nyo dun sa graph or dun sa picture, is nandyan nakalocate yung mga components niya or parts niya. So, a brief parang summary lang. So, yung light source daw siya yung LED. Yung light detector naman siya yung photodiode o yung transistor, phototransistor. Next natin, meron tayong lens. Siya yung magpo-focus. Parang sa mga mga DSLR na camera. Di ba siya yung may ginagalaw tayo or para mag-autofocus siya. Logic circuit, siya naman yung magpa-process ng signal. Output device, to activate a response. Siya yung LEDs can emit infrared, visible, red, green, or blue light depending on the application. So, for a formal explanation, so light source, most photoelectric sensors use a light-emitting diode or LED daw as the light source. An LED is a solid-state semiconductor that emits light when current is applied. LEDs are made to emit specific wavelengths or colors of light. Infrared, visible red, green, and blue LEDs nga daw siya are used as the light source in most photoelectric sensors. The LED and its associated circuitry are referred to as the emitter. So, ayun nga. So, meron siyang, yung light source niya sa yung LED. The next natin is the light detector. So, yung light detector naman daw, yung the main component used to detect the light from the light source. The light detector is composed of a photodiode or photoresistor. Ito daw is yung solid-state components that provides a change in conducted current depending on the amount of light detected. So, the light detector and accessory circuitry naman daw are referred to as the receiver. So, kung papansinin nyo, si light source daw, siya daw si emitter, and then si light detector naman, siya yung receiver natin. Ang next one natin is logic circuits. So, the sensor logic circuits provide the necessary electronics to modulate the LED, amplify the signal from the detector, and determine whether the output should be activated. So, siya yung circuit. Lenses. Next natin is lenses. LEDs typically emit light, and photodetectors are sensitive to light over a wide area. So, lenses are used with LED light sources and photodetectors to narrow or shape this area. As the area is narrowed, the range of the LED or photodetector increases. As a result, lenses increase the sensing distance of photoelectric sensors. So, kung mapapansin nyo dito sa picture na to, yung sa left side, LED radiation pattern without lenses, mas wide or mas malaki yung kino-cover niya, pero mas maiksi. Once na binigyan mo na siya ng lens, mas liliit yung range niya, pero mas hahaba yung detecting niya or yung distance niya. Papansin nyo, yung mga nasa upper part is walang mga lens. Yung mga sa lower part is merong lens. So, mas targeted siya sa isang area lang. Hindi katulad kapag wala siyang lens na kalat yung pagde-detect niya ng light. Ang next natin is, or last natin is output device. Once a sufficient change of light is detected, the photoelectric sensor switches an output device. Many types of discrete and analog outputs are available, each with particular strength and weaknesses. So, kung makikita nyo, yung output device natin is mapapailaw niya na yung bulb. Yung photodiode out, the photodiode activates the output when light is detected. When an object breaks the beam of light between the source and the receiver, the output turns off. Kung titingnan mo, para lang din siya yung mga outdoor na solar, na kapag umaga, reverse naman siya. Kapag umaga, nakapatay siya. Kapag wala na siyang nare-receive na light or ilaw, kasi paggabi na, automatic isisindi niya na yung mga solar. So, isa sa mga examples ng output natin.
So, on this slide, we have a retroreflective and polarized retroreflective. So, it means that these are the most commonly used sensing modes. A retroreflective sensor contains both the emitter and receiver in one housing. The light beam from the emitter is bounced off a reflector or a special reflective material and detected by the receiver. The object is detected when it breaks this light beam. So, kung titignan mo yung figure 7.23, makikita mo na nag-emit na siya ng light before pa may mag-pass through. So, kapag daw may dumaan sa kanya, pag na-break niya yung light doon, malalaman niya na merong dumaan or merong target kasi hindi na continuous yung light, hindi na siya bumabalik doon sa sa receiver. So, unlike mirrors or other flat reflective surfaces daw, ito daw is hindi mo kailangan na perpendicular yung sensor or perfectly aligned siya. So, misalignment of a reflector or reflective tape of up to 15 degrees will typically not significantly reduce the margin of a sensor. So, at least kahit nasa 15 degrees siya, okay lang daw siya. Doon sa other types of sensor, nakita natin na nung nasa 10 degrees na siya is hindi na siya pwede. Polarized retroreflective. So, polarized retroreflective sensors contain polarizing filters in front of the emitter and receiver that orient light into a single plane. So, these filters are perpendicular or 90 degrees out of phase with each other. Kapag polarized siya, meron tayong tinatawag na filter. Advantages and disadvantages of a retroreflective and polarized retroreflective. So, number 1, when sensor wiring is possible from only one side, a general rule of thumb is to use a retroreflective or polarized retroreflective sensor instead of transmitted beam daw if the opposite side allows a reflector to be mounted. Number 2 natin is polarized retroreflective should be selected instead of standard retroreflective wherever possible for the best application reliability. So, number 3, avoid sensing shiny objects. Polarized retroreflective sensing is the most popular sensing mode in conveyor applications. These applications offer objects that are large, box, cartons, manufactured parts, a relatively clean environment, and sensing ranges of 2 to 15 feet. So, ang sinasabi niya dito, kapag one side lang yung gagamitin, for example, an example niya dito is conveyor, and pwede ka makapag-mount ng reflector, mas optimal na gamitin natin tong sensor na to instead of other sensors. So, the disadvantage is, number 1, retroreflective sensors have a shorter sensing distance than transmitted beam. So, mas maiksi siya. So, number 2, polarized reflector sensors offer 30 to 40% shorter sensing distance than standard retroreflective sensors. Instead of infrared LEDs, Yung sensor daw must use a less efficient visible emitter, typically our visible red LED. The polarizing filters cause additional light losses. Number 3, avoid using retroreflective and polarizer sensors for precise positioning control or detecting small parts because it is usually difficult to create a small effective beam. The beam can be decreased by the use of apertures if required. So, yung kanina, shorter daw yung sensing distance niya. The next is, gagamit ka ng typically yung red LED daw, which is mas nababawasan pa daw yung pag-emit mo ng light. The next one naman yung it is difficult daw or yung mga maliliit daw na parts or maliliit na items is nahihirapan siyang i-detect. So, the number 4 naman, most retroreflective and polarized reflective sensors are optimized for long distance sensing and have a blind zone at a closer distance. So, typically daw 1 to 6 inches daw from the sensor face. Number 5 natin is the efficiency of different reflective target materials varies widely. So, care should be taken to reference the manufacturer's reflectivity index for these materials. Number 6, sensors daw will not effectively sense second surface reflection. Number 7, avoid detection of translucent or transparent materials. Instead, use a special designed clear object or polarized sensor. So, sinabi niya na dito yung mga disadvantage na maliit yung mga item. Dapat, i-avoid daw yung mga transparent materials na gagamitin natin. Kung makikita nyo dito, yung typical daw na paggamit nitong application is as seen on this slide, yung example 7.1, yung residual roll detection. So, nasa kabila yung detector and then nasa kabila naman yung reflector. So, our next sensor is diffuse sensor naman. So, itong diffuse sensor daw, ito daw yung method where the sensor detects light that reflects directly off the surface of an object. So, unlike daw nung retroreflective sensing daw, it doesn't need access to both sides of the object. The sensor sends out light and when it hits the object, the surface scatters the light in many directions. A small amount of that light bounces back to the sensor, allowing it to detect the object. So, kahit hindi perpendicular or basta, meaning kasi ng once na na-diffuse na siya or kumalat na daw siya, kahit konti lang na light ang mapunta sa kanya is nadidetect niya yung object. Kung kanina, meron na siyang ini-emit na continuous na light. Ito naman, one line lang. So, kapag na-hit niya daw yung object, then pumunta sa kanya, is masasense niya na. So, typically daw, yung relative reflectivity of sample objects natin. So, sa 7.2, yung mga objects natin, ito yung mga tape, polished aluminum, white paper, white typing paper, cardboard, package box, cut lumber, black paper, neoprene, tire rubber, and black felt. So, makikita niya na dito yung mga relative reflectivity niya na pwedeng gamitin. So, meron tayong mga diffuse sensing challenges daw, yung mga challenges sa pag gamit nitong sensor na to. So, yung object and background of reflectivity can vary widely. This application is most important when using diffuse sensing daw. So, kapag daw shiny yung mga surfaces, yung reflect light away and hard to detect siya. Sensor should face the object directly or perpendicular dapat yung sensor sa'yo. Next din naman daw niya is dark or matte surfaces. Yung absorb most light or weak daw yung reflection naman niya. Kung kanina shiny surfaces siya na sobrang kalat ng mga ilaw, ngayon naman, konti lang daw yung nilalabas niya na ilaw. So, sensor daw should be close to the object. Meron daw tayong different types of diffuse sensing daw. So, yung pinaka-simple is yung standard diffuse nga. So, yung others naman include itong sharp cutoff diffuse, background suppression diffuse, fixed focus diffuse, and wide angle diffuse. On our next slides, i-present naman natin ito. So, the one is sharp cutoff diffuse daw. So, yung sharp cutoff diffuse sensors are designed so the light beam from the emitter and the area of detection of the receiver are aligned towards each other. So, therefore, makes this sensor more sensitive at short distance and less sensitive at longer distance. This can provide more reliable sensing of objects that are positioned close to or close to reflective backgrounds. So, ang sinasabi mo dito na ang sensor daw nito is much maganda siya kapag mas malapit. Mas less sensitive daw siya kapag mas malayo. So, one of the examples is detecting daw ng a product on a conveyor belt in front of a shiny metal background. The sharp cut-off sensor can sense the product itself while ignoring reflections from the metal surface. So, kung yung iba, problema nila yung shiny material sa parang sa environment. Siya naman, kung ano lang daw yung target product, yun lang daw yung parang nakakonsentrate siya. Background suppression diffuse. Ang background suppression diffuse naman, siya yung pinakamahirap na application, pero siya yung nagbibigay ng the best or better solution compared daw sa standard diffuse or sharp cutoff diffuse. A background suppression allows the sensor to ignore a very reflective background almost directly behind a dark, less reflective objects. For many applications though, it is the ideal diffuse sensing mode. However, background suppression sensors are more complex and therefore more expensive than other diffuse models. A background suppression sensors use sophisticated electronics and optics to actively sense both the object and the background instead of attempting to ignore the background behind an object. The two signals are compared and the output will change state upon active detection of the object or the background. Ang sinasabi ng slide na to is pinakamahirap nga siyang application, pero the best siya na solution. However, mahal ang pagbibuild ng background suppression diffuse dahil yung mga electronics parts niya is mas high-end kesa sa other sensors. Another thing daw na maganda dito sa background suppression diffuse naman is that yung background at saka or yung environment and then the target itself yung sinesense niya, not just one, and then pagko-compare niya yung dalawang signals. So, kaya ang sinasabi nila is isa siya sa pinakamagandang or ideal daw na diffuse sensing mode. An example of this daw is detecting a dark bottle in front of a bright metal conveyor. So, yung sensor daw na detect niya yung bottle and ignores the reflection from the metal surface. Here is the image of a background suppression diffuse effective beam pattern. So, sa figure 7.29, makikita natin na yung emission of light is mag-reflect siya sa receiver 1 or receiver 2. So, another is the fixed focus diffuse. So, sa fixed focus sensor, the beam from the light source and the detection area of the receiver are focused to a very narrow point or focal point at a fixed distance in front of the sensor. So the sensor is very sensitive at this point and much less sensitive before and beyond this focal point. So, meron tayong three primary applications ng fixed focus sensors. One is the reliable detection of small objects. Because the sensor is very sensitive at the focal point, a small target can be readily detected. Detections of objects at a fixed distance. As a fixed focus sensor is most sensitive at the focal point, it can be used in some applications to detect an object at the focal point and ignore it when it is in front or behind the focal point. Detection of color printing marks. Color registration mark detections. In some applications, it is important to detect the presence of a printing mark on a continuous web of wrapping materials. A fixed sensor with a specific visible light source color, so yung typical niya daw is red, green, or blue, may be selected to provide the greatest sensitivity to the mark. Ang sinasabi niya dito kay fixed focus diffuse is meron lang siyang specific point and preferably is sa mga maliliit siya na mga target. Yung mga last slides natin na mga sensors, ang dinedetect niya is mga at least mga medium size na objects or large objects. Ang disadvantage nila is ay small targets. So at fixed focus diffuse naman, ang specialization niya is for small targets at saka sa fixed distance lang ng objects. Wala siyang paki before or after. As you can see at the picture, so ayun yung focal point na sinasabi niya kay fixed focus diffuse. The last one is the wide angle diffuse naman. So, sensors project the light source and detection area of the receiver over a wide area. Typical applications for wide-angle sensors are thread detection. A wide-angle diffuse sensor can detect the presence of extremely thin strands of thread or other material positioned close to the sensor. The presence or absence or thread breakdown of the thread can be reliably detected even when the thread moves from side to side in front of the sensor. Thread detection is meaning niya yung mga strands. Ignoring holes or imperfection in targets. So, because wide angles diffuse sensors can sense over a broad area, they can ignore small holes or imperfections in diffuse objects, detecting products not accurately positioned. So, in the name itself na wide angle diffuse is malawak yung kino-cover niya. Pero hindi siya nakaka-detect ng mga small objects or mga imperfections daw. On this slides, papakita natin yung mga advantages ng mga sensors sa diffuse. So, yung sa standard is diffuse, sa sharp cutoff, and background suppression. Hindi ko na iisa-isahin itong mga ito. So, basahin nyo na lang. Applications for the sensor to objects. Kanina din naman na i-discuss natin. So, ipakita ko lang and then basahin nyo or i-screenshot nyo. So, another thing, itong si fixed focus. Advantages niya daw. Wide angle. Kung makikita nyo kanina, yung wide angle daw na sensor do not exhibit the blind spot that standard diffuse sensor have for small objects at close range kasi nga malawak yung sinesense niya, so wala siyang blind spot kasi makukuha niya halos lahat. Disadvantages of the sensors. So papakita naman natin dito yung disadvantages niya for the diffuse. Marami siya. As you can see is reflectivity, shiny surfaces, small part detection. Most diffuse mode sensors are less tolerant to decontamination around them. Basahin nyo na lang din ito. Intindihin nyo. Ito naman yung for the sharp cut off, background suppression, fixed focus, and wide angle. Mention naman natin na halos lahat ng ito din kanina. So, parang sinasummarize mo lang dito yung mga disadvantages ng mga sensors. So, basahin nyo lang ulit para mas ma-familiarize kayo sa mga different sensors niya. Sa image naman na to, pinapakita niya yung typical na diffuse application. For example, is the package detection daw. Dito makikita niya na kapag nasa tamang pwesto na ba si flour packaging para ma-fill niya na yung flour or malagyan niya na ng laman. Kasi pag hindi siya sa eksaktong position na yun, is lalabas or magsispill yung flour natin. Another sensor natin naman is fiber optic sensors. So, yung fiber optics naman, from the word itself, or kung familiar na kayo, di ba ito yung mga cable? Ang fiber optic sensors permit the attachment of light pipes called fiber optic cables. Light emitted from the source is sent through transparent fibers in the cables and emerges at the end of the fiber. The transmitted or reflected beam is then carried back to the receiver through different fibers naman daw siya. Ang fiber optics daw is namamount siya sa kahit saang location. Can be mounted in locations that would otherwise be inaccessible to photoelectric sensors. They can be used where there is a high ambient temperature and in application where extreme shock and vibration or continuous movement of the sensing point is required. Fiber optics cables may also be used to sense small objects. Fiber optics may have the fastest response. Fiber optic cables can be configured to operate in all the sensing modes: transmitted beam, retroreflective, and the various diffuse modes. So, kung titingnan mo siya, si fiber optic cable daw, kahit na uncertain yung environment mo or mainit, malamig, mainit, dahil hindi siya nagre-rely sa outside environment, katulad ng iba na nagre-rely siya sa sound wave, sana dito naman is meron ka ng cable, is direct na siya. As you can see in the figure 7.33, kung makikita nyo dyan yung individual fiber optic cable naman, then sa 7.34 is bifurcated fiber optic cable. Meron tayong glass fiber optic cables. Sa glass naman, it contains multiple strands of very thin glass fiber that are bonded together in a flexible sheet. Etong glass fiber optic cables daw, typically mas matibay siya, more durable than their plastic counterparts. Glass cables will withstand much higher temperature. Glass fiber optic cables with a stainless steel sheet are rated up to 260 degrees Celsius. Special cables can be obtained with temperatures rating of up to 480 degrees Celsius. Most glass cables are available with a choice of PVC or flexible stainless steel sheet. PVC sheet cables are typically less expensive, so stainless steel sheeting adds even greater durability and allows the cables to operate at a higher temperature. So, glass fiber optic cables, most likely, sa mga manufacturing ito na nagpo-produce ng sarili nila or from raw materials siya. Kasi kung titignan mo siya, up to 260 degrees Celsius daw ang kakayanin niyang i-withstand. The plastic fiber optic sensors. So, yung plastic fiber optic naman daw are typically constructed of a single acrylic monofilament. They are less durable, so mas hindi siya matibay, but typically less expensive than glass cables. Plastic cables ay plastic fibers can be used in applications where continuous flexing of the cable is required. Coiled plastic cables are also available for these applications. In this slide and the next slide, papakita niya lahat ng mga sensing mode na sinabi. So, makikita mo mayroon siyang transmitted beam, retroreflective, polarized, and standard diffuse shot, sharp cut-off, and sa next slide naman yung sa iba. So, papakita niya yung mga applications. General purpose sensing part is counting, yung iba naman yung for shiny objects. Meron tayong mga advantages and yung mga cautions. Like, mas expensive siya. Transmitted beams are much more expensive. Ang sinasabi niya dito, because separate light source and receiver required more costly wirings. Basahin nyo na lang din ulit ito at intindihin nyo. Same from our other slide. So, ito pa rin siya. Ang next na naman is background suppression diffuse, fixed focus diffuse, wide angle diffuse, and fiber optics. Makikita mo yung mga application, advantages, and mga cautions niya. Ulitin ko, pakibasa na lang ulit to, pakiintindi yung mga nakalagay dito sa PowerPoint kasi direct naman sila or madaling maintindihan. Ito yung magiging last slide natin. Dito sa na to before tayo mag-proceed kay FluidSim. So, ang summary niya, ultrasonic sensors use sound, photoelectric sensors use light, and fiber optic sensors use light through cables naman siya. So, may kanya-kanya silang strengths at saka limitations depending daw sa environment, distance, and material of the target.